Welcome to the Simply Real Life podcast. I'm Sarah, the founder of Simply Real Health, here to help you simplify, amplify, and elevate your life. This show is for those of you who want the real talk on how to live a more intuitive and intentional life, a life that's healthy from the inside out, and one that feels more effortless, aligned, simple, and more alive. We cover it all, from health, wellness, mindset, motherhood, daily habits and rituals, to business and relationships, creativity and growth, and tiny tricks to feeling your best, and the energetics behind it all filled with personal stories, unfiltered conversations, and of course, answering all of your burning questions, all in the way of simplicity and keeping it real, so that you can create your own version of your healthiest life. Let's do it. Hi guys, welcome back to the show this week. I'm so glad that you're here and hope that your week has been going well, that you are taking care of yourselves. And you know what? Just congratulations on taking a few moments for yourself in the midst of your busy day to be taking a pause, to be thinking about your health, to be looking for inspiration and new ideas. Not too many people do that. And the fact that you are here right now listening to this, I think that is amazing. So go you. You're doing great. So today's episode, I wanted to share one of the most often questions that I get asked about my morning routine. I know that I have shared this many times before. There's probably been 4 or 5 different renditions of this on my blog at some point in saved Instagram highlights. And I think it's a really interesting thing to keep sharing, because I think it's also for those of you who have been around for a while, you will start to see like the pieces of my routine that are pretty much non-negotiable. Like it doesn't matter what stage of life I'm in, how many kids I have, like what's going on in my day, if we're traveling, if we're home, if the kids are sick, if things don't go according to plan, what things are always and ever present in my morning routine, setting myself up for the day. And then which things kind of shift and change. And I think it's important to share both. So I thought it would be hopefully helpful and interesting, at least for some of you out there, to listen to my morning routine, specifically in this postpartum season that I'm in, because as we all know, that is a short stage of life, but it also is one where self-care is so needed, and really taking care of yourself in really small moments. My morning routine and my evening routine is everything right now. Maybe I will get time to do a walk in the day, but if I don't, I know that I at least have these pillars to rely on. And I think that's been something that has helped me so much mentally after each kid specifically, but also having constants, just non-negotiables in my life, no matter what, that really do feed me, keep me grounded, take care of kind of the basics of my health, whether that's health internally with my food, with water, with getting movement, trying to get sunlight and trying to take care of my skin. You know, it's just kind of the basic things. So this is not an elaborate routine by any means, but there are a few things that I think hopefully will be helpful to hear. I just always think it's helpful and interesting to hear other people's morning routines, because sometimes you hear things that you're like, maybe I should try that. I've never tried that before, or that sounds interesting, or like, let's see how that goes. Or that's definitely not going to work for me, but maybe it will challenge you to think of what will. So I'm going to take you through my routine, and it's pretty flexible and fluid at this point because most of it starts off, I don't have an alarm that goes off at this point. It's not the same exact timing every single day, but these again are the foundational pieces that are included. Sometimes it's longer, sometimes it's shorter. So let's just get into things. Right now, I'm still nursing Rosie. She's still in her year of being a baby. And so she's really my alarm clock for the most part, and or the other kids if they get up earlier, which actually tends to happen. I would say probably 90% of the time the older kids are up, or at least one of them is up. So getting up right now, anytime between 6 and 7 a.m. If I can, hopefully it's on the 7 a.m. side of things, but realistically it's anytime from 6 to 7 being woken up from some child or another. And that's great. So first thing what I do, if it's Rosie, I go get her out of her crib, I bring her back into bed with me, and I feed her laying down. This is one of the joys of my life right now. When Noah was a baby, I could not figure out how to nurse laying down. It just never seemed to really work. It felt too complicated. I never really nailed it with June, and it became my favorite thing in the world, just specifically for that morning feed. It was just something so sweet, like snuggly, and everyone's still a little bit tired, but there's no distractions. She can eat calmly. She eats a lot. The milk is the highest amount in the morning. So that starts my day in this peaceful way, even though there's a lot going on, and it's something I just treasure so much. So she's the first priority in the morning, waking her up, getting her fed. Kyle is on the big kids in the morning, at least getting them up and getting their breakfast started while I am doing that. So start my day in a very calm way for the most part for my nervous system, really soaking her in and being relaxed and in the moment. And I love it. And I know that I'm also going to miss it so much. There will be perks, I think, after I'm done. But for right now, this feels the best. Okay. After she's done, I sort of prop her up in bed, pillows around, or her siblings are around, and I go into the bathroom. The first thing I do is pull off my mouth tape. This is something I'm experimenting with, and I know this is something I'm always testing and trying stuff. So this is one of the current tests and things I'm trying. I know it's everywhere. I know that it's probably all over your social media feed, like this mouth taping revolution, but I'm trying it out because it seems like something small. It seems like something easy. Do a little test for myself. Do I notice anything different? The benefits to it are supposed to be that you get more oxygen to your brain, while you're sleeping, that you actually get a deeper sleep when you do. So much of mouth breathing can really cause a lot of problems, not only with like the shape of your jaw and your facial structure for the rest of your life, but also oxygen and breathing. And it's supposed to help with anxiety and calming. So I'm like, why not? Let's just give it a try. I've had a little bit of a hard time finding a tape that I like. So many of them have such strong adhesives or feel a little claustrophobic. So I'm just trying to find the right fit. So I've been experimenting and playing with that a few times a week, not even every week. And so far, to be determined, check in with me about that one. But right now I'm doing that. I also have been in this really big phase of doing face tape at night. So again, instead of doing something like Botox, I am really doing everything I can and trying every other modality possible in what feels like the time that I do have. So these things are like low commit, not very expensive, might as well try it. They do need consistency for them to work. But the thought behind facial tape, so it's like a Japanese style tape. Sometimes when athletes are recovering, and we'll see physical therapists use this tape on skin to help lift the skin layers and then help encourage blood flow underneath. So it's the same principle. I tape mostly my forehead. That's where I naturally have a lot more movement and expression and static lines. So I've been playing with that and I actually really like it. People have asked me this all the time in DMs. Are you noticing a huge difference? I wouldn't say it's a huge difference, but if I can just minimize some of the movement that's unconscious and keep the forehead lines from deepening even more, why not? And it's very simple. It has to be specifically facial tape. That's gentle. It's very soft. There's no glue. There's no adhesive. I know people are a big fan of Frownies and love Frownies as another natural alternative. But I've also heard a lot of different things about Frownies of like the adhesive tape and like it needs to be really wet in order to take it off. And it's a lot more of a commitment on things. So this tape just feels more gentle, this Japanese face tape. And I can put this in the show notes as well. But I've been playing with that and I love that. And it makes me feel actually more calm and peaceful when my forehead is not moving. Like even in sleep, I do feel like it helps me sleep better, even though that's not really why you wear it or do it. But that's something I'm playing with. Again, postpartum, it's easy. It's pretty low commitment. It doesn't take a lot of time or energy. And it feels pretty good. I'm noticing enough of a benefit to want to keep going. It looks a little weird, but you know what? That's fine. I look so weird when I'm going to bed anyways, because I have my earplugs in. I have my eye mask I pull on, a little face tape. You can even see it when my eye mask is on. And now I've got the mouth tape. So, it's just like a whole vibe when I'm going to bed anyways. This is what self-care is looking like for me right now. Okay. So pull the tape off, mouth tape off, face tape off. First thing I do is tongue scrape. This is a constant in my life. I cannot imagine not tongue scraping first thing in the morning, especially before drinking water. There is so much stuff that is on your tongue. It is the way that your body detoxes every single day. If you've never tried it, just take my word, get a stainless steel tongue scraper on Amazon. I'll link the one I have below. It will change your life and you will wonder how you ever lived without it. It is one of those things, once you do it, you cannot go back, and it feels so good and it feels so much cleaner. And I do really think that, like, I notice sometimes maybe I'm traveling or if I'm eating stuff that's a little different than my norm, the amount of buildup on my tongue, this is so gross, but whatever, the amount on my tongue is more on those days. And on the days where it's like kind of in my normal rhythms, there's not very much, but it still feels so much better. So you can deep dive into the research, but this has always been a part of my routine, probably for the last 10 years. I swear by it. I love it. We'll never leave it. And I highly, highly recommend. Not expensive at all. It's something that everybody can do. Then I brush my teeth. That's kind of like the bare bones basics. At that point, I may need to go back out, and depending what's happening with Rosie, I may get dressed at that point and then go back in and do part 2 of my routine in the bathroom. Or if I have a few more minutes, I try to get it all out, get my whole face and body and teeth ready for the day, and then go get dressed. So these parts are interchangeable depending what's happening. It's flexible, but the foundational pieces still stay the same. So part 2 is really more about morning skincare and hair care. So first thing, I do some type of serum or an oil on my face, and I do either a facial massage just with my hands for a few moments, like taking an actual minute. Like, do you actually take 60 full seconds to massage your face? Or is it just like rush and you're slapping stuff on and you're trying to just get going? If you have the minute, it's one of the most approachable and easy things you can do for a little moment of care and love for yourself in the morning and for your skin and for your body. It just kind of sets the tone for the day of like, you're being that intentional with your skin. You can therefore be intentional with the things you're putting in your body, the things you're not putting in your body, your mindset for the day, just that moment to kind of slow down. I crave it at this point. So some type of serum. I love the Primally Pure Plumping Serum. I love their Soothing Serum. I alternate between those two, or sometimes it's a different facial oil that I'm bringing in. I like to play around with things, keep it fresh for my skin. I do facial massage with my hands to drain out all the extra fluid, or sometimes I do gua sha, or sometimes my favorite is the cupping tool from Primally Pure. That's like the most efficient tool, and you get the most bang for your buck, and it feels like it really just gets your blood circulating. It draws your blood up to the skin, so you get this beautiful flush. It releases a lot of tension, and it just feels so good to be moving that puffiness and stagnation out in the morning. So I do that, and this is like maybe 2 minutes, this whole thing that I'm talking about, the facial oil with the massage. Some way I'm moving lymph and fluid out of my face in the morning, because who knows what sleep was like the night before. Then what I do is put on, this has been my favorite, oh my gosh, for the last, I think 6 months. I'm obsessed with it. I tried this product when I was pregnant and I couldn't do the smell of it because I was just so sensitive and so sick. But now I'm doing the antioxidant balm from Primally Pure, and I always have a code for you guys too. So I'll put the link below. But like this balm, I'm not kidding you. First of all, the jar will last you forever. I'm 6 months in. I think I'm barely halfway through it, and I use it every day, like morning and night now. And it's their retinol alternative. It's almost like a slugging layer. If you've seen any of those TikTok videos, it's so rich and so hydrating. It's tinted red because of the ingredients that they use in it. These very beautiful red superfoods that have natural forms of retinol in it and vitamin C. And so it almost like you're using self-tanner a little bit, and it just has the best glow and your skin feels so hydrated. So after I've done like the serum, then I put on the balm over top. And this is in the morning. And then I can do the cupping over top of that. I can put makeup on over top, but that's usually a little bit later in the morning. But it just gives me this glow for drop off, pick up. Even though I'm just rolling out of bed, it makes me feel more like my face is fresh. I feel glowy. I'm obsessed with that. I highly recommend trying it. It's just amazing. It's one of their newer products, and I've been quietly using it for 6 months, and I keep forgetting to share and post it. But there you go. I'm talking about it for right now. That's been my all-time favorite thing. You can use tools with it because it has that slick and that glow, but it doesn't feel too greasy. Okay, so that's kind of the skin. Then I do something quick for my hair. I'm very right now in the postpartum season, so you know, if you moms out there who have ever been pregnant and gone through postpartum, that your hair takes a beating. I mean, if you go through a lot of changes, there's hair loss, there's hair regrowth. Sometimes it's growing back in funny places and sticking up right in the front of your head. Sometimes you feel like you're still losing hair even after the 4-month postpartum shed, the bigger shed that happens. So because it's my third rodeo, like I have been wanting to get ahead of it so I don't experience that huge loss and don't go through this very strange stage with my hair. And I have to say, I think it's been working. So even at 3 months postpartum, I started back on my favorite multivitamin, which is the Super Hair supplement by Moon Juice. I can link that one below. And it's a multivitamin with methylated B vitamins, which is so important, and the right form of folate, which is also so important. It also has natural ingredients that help with hair growth. So I have done that with all 3 of my kids. It really, really does help. You just need so much reboosting and remineralization and so many more nutrients because you're so depleted after pregnancy and nursing. Your body is like sucked dry. So adding in as much support at this time, like, is something that I always do, and targeted specifically to the things that feel depleted. So I love that as a supplement. I start that pretty soon before the 4-month postpartum shed happens. And that really has lessened the amount, the frequency, all of it. And so now I'm also thinking about the regrowth stage. Like, okay, how do we not only prevent the shedding, but then also think about growing new hair and keeping it healthy. And a huge part of that is keeping your scalp healthy. So every morning as part of my routine, I do something for my scalp, whether that's just a scalp massage. I've shared my favorite $6 scalp massage tool before. I think I sent it a couple weeks ago in the weekly email. I will also try to link that one below. But whether it's a scalp massage or lately I've been trying this hair growth serum that I've been loving. Too early to report back. It's only been 2 or 3 weeks, but it's something you put on in the morning to dry hair and you just let it soak in. You massage a little bit. It's not greasy. You would think it would be. I think it's working pretty well. So I will report back on that. But I do a scalp serum and then some type of scalp massage and or just brushing my hair and then putting in, my hair is so dry. So I always have to put in some type of oil or some type of leave-in conditioner every morning. So it's very quick. This whole process, again, is like maybe 3 or 4 minutes total, like 2 minutes on my face, 2 minutes on my hair, 2 minutes between mouth tape off, face tape off, tongue scrape, brush teeth. So this is very quick, even though it sounds like a lot. It's quick, it's simple, it's easy. Of course, some days it doesn't always happen all in the same order. Sometimes it's a little bit of back and forth before I can get through those things. But for the most part, that's what's happening. The next thing I do, I will grab baby. The kids are probably already downstairs eating breakfast. First thing I do is go fill up a huge glass of water and I put my chlorophyll drops in. This is also something I've been doing for years. Sometimes I alternate and I'll do just a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon, or sometimes it's warm water in the winter, but mostly something different than a plain glass of water. It makes me more enticed to drink it in the morning. I do this first thing before I put anything else in my body, before I'm doing matcha, before I do any food. Hydration first. This will change your life if you have not tried this before. Drink water first. Your body wakes up so much more dehydrated and in need of water than it does for food. And even it does for caffeine. Like, there have been a lot of studies that have come out, and I kind of have been doing this naturally. So I always feel validated, don't you feel validated when a study comes out? You're like, yeah, I already do that. But delaying your intake of caffeine for at least an hour after you wake up is so much healthier for your hormones and for your cortisol and your adrenal glands and your whole nervous system. And you can still reap the benefits of having that boost of caffeine, but starting with hydration first will make you feel so much better and less jittery, and oftentimes can even tamper down the strong hunger in the morning too. So again, this is something I'm doing for years. I swear by it. If you've not tried it, chlorophyll just makes it more interesting. Chlorophyll is a natural detoxifier. It cleans out not only in your gut lining and then the cells of your body, but supports the liver. It supports if you have bad breath. If when you sweat, your sweat really stinks. That means there's probably quite a few toxins in your body that are needing to come out, and they will come out through your breath. They'll come out through sweat, come out through urine. So if you find that you are feeling stinky, this is like a great internal deodorant. There's just so many different benefits, but that is definitely a non-negotiable in my day. got my water, chlorophyll. I've got the baby on my hip. I bring her over, set her down. She's in the potted plant stage at the time of recording this, where she kind of like sits up and can play. The older kids are eating breakfast, probably listening to an audio story. I get my foam roller out and I do 5 to 10 minutes of foam rolling. I just posted this and saved this on my highlights on Instagram last week if you want to take a physical look at what I'm doing. But I roll out my back, I roll out my glutes, I roll out my legs, my IT band, releasing all the fascia in my muscles. Oftentimes we hold like a lot of emotions in our body. For some of you, you're going to just nod and fully understand what I mean when I say that. And for some of you, you're going to be like, what are you talking about? That sounds so weird. But our body holds and stores emotion, especially more negative emotions can be stored in the body. So I love foam rolling, not only for physically the release, my muscles feel good, I feel stretched out, whatever workout or walk I did the day before, it feels like a reset, that I'm taking care of my muscles. They're not getting too tense. And then you get things like back issues and other aches and pains. So I don't have any of those because I do foam roll every morning. It's one of those things that often gets overlooked. You can do it at night. Some people like it at night, that release, but it also releases emotional tension or things you may not even be aware of that your body is holding. And so I like it for both of those reasons, like physically and then also the emotional kind of check-in. Where are we at? Are things super tight? Or like what's going on in my body? Just that general awareness. And then I also take 5 minutes to do my back exercises and core exercises, which is something, again, I also saved in that highlight. But I had a herniated disc that happened almost 3 years ago when June was about 9 months old from lifting a bag out of the stroller the wrong way. I had no core because I was only prioritizing bike workouts and walking, and I was just not on top of it. And so since that time, it's been almost 3 years. Every morning, I do at least 5 minutes of strengthening my core. And I think after 3 kids, it's not only necessary, I just feel like every morning I need to remind my muscles how to work, remind them to support our posture, support our back. And since doing that every day and incorporating reformer Pilates, like I haven't had any issues, knock on wood. And I really think that's a huge reason. It's very humbling postpartum. I feel nowhere near the amount of core strength that is probably healthy or needed for my body at this point, but I am slowly giving myself 5 minutes every day and then trying to make it to Pilates twice a week to really work on that. That's just going to be a continual journey, I think, for me for the rest of my life. So I'm fully committed. I am hopefully, in my mind, doing this every morning until I'm 90. Like, I want to be down on that floor. I want to be foam rolling. I want to be working on basic strength that's more about longevity and less about vanity. And so that's something I do and have been doing for years. I highly recommend it. Even for my husband too, our kids are used to us both now foam rolling, like in the morning, or we take turns. Somebody's helping with the kids, somebody's doing the foam roll, and then we switch. So there's lots of ways to just make it work without the excuses of the perfect time. There's chaos going on around me. June's trying to climb on the foam roller with me half the time. I'll keep reminding her, like, 5 minutes, then mom can read to you or whatever you need, but I need to take care of my back and stretch. And I feel great about them seeing that. I think that's such a healthy thing. Can we normalize that? Like parents being healthy, taking care of their bodies, doing things like stretching. And it's cute. It's like at this point, they both now have their own little stretch routines. When they're feeling in the mood, they'll come do it their own, be like, look at this one, Dad, Mom, look at this one. What about this stretch? So kids really catch so much of what you're doing, even more than the things that you say. And so that's one of those tiny examples that even though it feels hard to be like, honey, wait, we have to wait to read the book until mom's done with her stretches to like actually put yourself first in that way. The benefits of that over time, at least in my opinion, have been huge. Okay, then we go into the chaos of the morning, like depending what's happening. My husband travels a lot for work, so sometimes it's all me on the morning routine. If he's home, he is the one that helps and at least takes the older one to school because that's an early drop off. But packing up the backpacks, I always do the lunch making the night before. They're always in the fridge. So it's just a matter of like getting that in the backpack. I always fill up the water bottles the night before. So everything's kind of ready to go. But there's always more breakfast requests, or can I have more of this? Can I have more of that? Maybe the baby's crying. Who knows? It's like a little crazy. Those minutes of the morning. If you're a parent, there's routines. We've used things like visual timers in the past as we're getting into new routines or different years of school start. So yeah, that's what we do. And either I drop off and then bring the kids back, and then the preschool drop off is later. So in between that time, the mornings are really, aside from my basic skin care, mouth care, hair care routine of like basic human waking up stuff. For the most part, the mornings are really all about the kids. I do try to find some intentional time with my daughter who's in preschool before she goes off for the day. She's only going a couple times a week for a few hours, so it's not that much. But time to read with her or to like sit and draw with her. It doesn't always work out perfectly, but for the most part, I find that when I do that, my cup is filled by that. Her cup is filled by that. It's a nice, slower start to the morning. Again, I know this is not probably relatable to so many of you if you have schedules and you have to be at work earlier and there's a much different routine happening in the morning, but this is our routine, and just thinking about different points through the day that you can make those things happen, or what like priorities do you have? You know, like what are the values? This time in the morning is meant for this, this, and this. I can't do everything. So let's focus on the stuff that matters the most. So then we go into preschool drop off, which in my ideal day would include a walk to the school. And that way I get fresh air. She's getting fresh air. The baby's getting fresh air. Like it's such a better start to the day. That's my ideal. If I can make it happen, we do, no matter the weather. But you know, it's life. There's always things that come up, things that kind of make you think, okay, but today's going to be a little bit of a different day. So we just go with the flow, and a walk would be ideal. If not, I really do try to figure out a different time in the day that I can do that, even if it's just 10 minutes, even if it's just 5 minutes of fresh air for myself. Mentally helps so much. Then as I come back from drop off, probably feeding the baby one more time, then I'm thinking of the transition into work. So before I do, just a few parts of my routine, filling in the gaps of like, okay, fill up my water bottle. That's a huge thing. If I have it next to me, I will drink it. I make sure I drink a lot more water before I have food. I'm not a big food person in the morning because I feel like I'm so hydrated. So I will fill up my water bottle. I then make my matcha. So it's been like an hour and a half at least since I've woken up before I have caffeine. And I have a whole blog post on like why I stopped drinking coffee and how I found matcha. And now that is the thing I have every day instead. And it feels amazing and it works for my body. And it's my favorite thing ever. So I do that. It's such a joy in my day. And then whenever I get hungry, sometimes I'm going into my office and starting the work day. And then I come out to eat something when I'm hungry, but I just listen to my body. Like it's not a time of day necessarily, more than when my body first gets hungry, then I will go make something to eat. And that could be from like 9:30, could be 10, 10:30, 11. Sometimes it's 12. Like it just depends on the day, on how I'm feeling, on what's going on. It's a very intuitive thing at this point. And that's a lot of what I teach, right? In all my programs, it's all about listening to your body, learning your hunger, thinking about your own blood sugar, thinking about what foods really fuel you. The thing I've been doing lately that just has been working, and it's quick and it's easy, sliced bananas, usually some type of nut butter over the top, like sunflower butter or almond butter, usually just a little spoonful. And then I sprinkle it with frozen blueberries or fresh berries if we have some. Then I do a little sprinkle of chia seeds. It just has all the things. It's got like sweet, a little bit of crunch, just so many good textures. If it's frozen blueberries, it's colder. Anyways, you can switch this up however you want, but this is, all of these elements are included for specific reasons, as you can imagine. Then I have been sprinkling some protein powder on top, like a clean protein powder, not ones with stevia and monk fruit and a million different ingredients, but like just clean and simple on the top, not a ton. Otherwise it's just chalk powder over everything, but I actually don't mind. It feels like it's efficient. It's getting it done. I don't need to blend anything. I just mix that together and it's delightful. I'm getting great amounts of fiber. I'm getting some protein. I'm getting some healthy fats. It just feels grounding and very satisfying and like easy and quick to make. And that's exactly what I need in this stage of life. Then I transition into my workday, which is very efficient, very short at this point, and not always as predictable in this stage of life. But that kind of wraps up my morning routine, at least the things I do, the things I'm including, the things I'm focusing on, and just hoping that that answers your questions. If you have follow-up questions of anything that I have mentioned here today, but if you've been around for a while, you've probably seen multiple parts of these routines happen. They're my go-tos. They keep me steady. They keep me healthy. It keeps me going. And most of all, it keeps me away from the extremes and away from like the all or nothing mentality, which is something I have suffered from in the past. I'm very much a recovering perfectionist. And to get to this place where it feels like I can be doing things that are small, but they add up over time, that's what it's all about. To me, it's about feeling good, my energy, longevity, and even things like my skincare. I want that to be something that is long-term. So that's what is reflected in the ways that I'm choosing these activities. And I would just encourage you to think about what those things are for you. Like, what are those non-negotiables in your day? For me, like the absolute non-negotiables, I mean, those are pretty much it because we're in a bare bones time. These are the non-negotiables. So that's how it rolls. I hope that this was helpful. And again, if you have any other questions about this, come find me on Instagram at Simply Real Health. And maybe we will have to do a little version of the night routine. And I'm curious, what other questions do you have? Are there parts of the day that also would be interesting to hear about? Let me know. All right, you guys, I love you. And I hope that you have a great rest of your week. And if you try any of these, let me know. I want to see it.
If you enjoyed this episode and want more like it, make sure you're subscribed to the Simply Real Life podcast, wherever you listen to podcasts, and maybe share it with a friend or two. That would mean the world.